Attention gamers. Previously in my hopeless attempts to gain self-validation by winning more games in League of Legends, I went through a spiritual awakening of thinking double mage bot lanes were my ticket to free Elo Island, but no amount of photoshopping my win rate on websites to show my friends could make up for the fact that I was staring at more black and white than a colorblind kid watching TV in the 70s. So I swallowed my pride and decided that I, Rav, 10-year hard-stuck complainer of metas and more, would actually try to improve at the game. I full committed, downloading one of those League Assistant apps, thinking that if I just listened to the data on what builds are best and what picks would complement my team the most, I would succeed. I studied its pre-game scouting reports, thinking if I knew everyone in this game more intimately than their own mothers, nothing would stop my climb.
You are now in the presence of a king.
I envisioned how it would go, wins after wins, reading my post-game report from Professor while waiting for the next game, getting better, telling people if they used my link below they could get Professor for free today too, hoping that I was about to launch the biggest rank glow up ever. But as the famous saying goes, high hopes is for dopes who cope. And I was about to be left shattered. So today you are going to see the events that led up to me playing my last League of Legends game ever. It all started in a game against some Oppenheimer fanboy and his pet Swarovski crystal, and I knew when they hit level 6 I'll be getting knocked up and cucked more than a single mom of 6 who never learned about condoms, so I wanted to press my advantage and apparently both of my summoner spells early to get first blood. Then we are casually getting poked out of lane by Majora's Mask Zelda Ziggs, but little do they know we have Mr. Identity Theft in the area who dives balls deep into danger, so I help the situation with a fat swanky Jane amount of damage, which is enough to trigger a sequence that could only be developed with over 200 years of collective game design experience, which means I get to watch the ghost of these dead bitches' friends assist me in killing them off. At this point I'm thinking this is going well, but unfortunately for the floating power plant I brought to work today, the bad guys just learned how to ult, and since I prioritize targets like an ADHD coke addict prioritizes tasks, I chase the wrong target while Static Stanley gets sizzled. This leaves me in a situation where some adversarial glacier is overly enthusiastic to play rock paper scissors with me, and even though I know he's gonna throw rock, I'm worried he's gonna earn that paper until Mini Majora steps into the danger zone and gets butt blasted. The supports step out to get some milk as their bomb rat overextends. I can tell he's sleep deprived by the deep dark blue circles around his eyes, so I figure I will put him out of his misery while I contemplated sharing the credit with Viego, but then decided against being a good teammate, which totally won't come back to haunt me later, right? My support was continuing to graciously accept all donations of enemy abilities while I was huffing copium in the tall grass, sniping granite slabs with my ult. I guess word got out that the toastered bathtub was the man of the hour when it came to getting absolutely shit on, so I waved to their jungler as if I gave him my permission to invert my own support's anus as I selfishly focused on the shitty Kindred cosplaying Ziggs to trade 1 for 1. Then I prepared to fight in round 2 of the winner's bracket, and after opening up Sports Kings and placing a bet against myself in this one, I somehow defied the odds with the classic close your eyes, stand still and right click technique. I was honestly feeling pretty good. Strong enough to look a top laner in the eyes by myself, which had its backpack cannon shitting itself in the wrong direction, so I called a few friends over to make fun of it. I knew the enemy team had threats, but luckily their support skipped the page in his manual that talked about how to one-shot ADCs, as he was clearly doing something wrong, and the amount of life stealing that the red sword in my inventory was giving me countered the grey parse amounts of DPS he was putting out. My team did a great job of removing any cameras deployed in the shrubs, so when the weaponized Stephen Hawking walked up he was met with a surprisingly fatal amount of love taps coming out of my pretty pistols. Anytime I ran into their support I would boot up a quick game of I don't need to see you to shit in your mouth, and I was enjoying the amenities of having right clicks that score chicks, as I could kill my opponents faster than they could say unstoppable force, and things were feeling good. But this was the moment where I fell victim to the oh-so-common flaw that ADC players experience, known as, I'm fed but I'm still utter shit at this game and don't know how to position correctly, and here's how it went. So after a period of 14 minutes that I could only assume is about as fun as Chinese water torture, I single-handedly threw a game that I was destined to carry, giving up. And if after 10 years of playing this game still ends in me failing this bad, maybe League isn't for me. Is what a pussy would say. So I immediately queued up again and vowed that the next game would be the hardest I've ever carried a game in my life. I would abuse every enemy fiddlesticks ADC who paths away from safety in the face of adversity. When he teleports into our lane out of thin air as if someone just said Voldemort while rubbing their bare gooch on a Ouija board, I will promptly ult him and then stand on my business, which is losing a slap battle against a bard support. I will let my support do 99.5% of the work in lane, tying up that cosmic ball sack and removing all his health so that I can come in and click him like a file that needs moved to the recycling bin before receiving my credit. When my teammates prioritized using their own resources to visit me, I was sure to show my appreciation by rewarding myself with a paycheck before leaving that pre-puberty rat to deal with the rest of the bad guys down here himself. At one point I chased down their fiddle and made him promise that if he sees me ult to immediately stop me, because my dad says that behavior's not ladylike, as my support would then come in to fire up the titty laser and make me overextending like a dislocated elbow seem intentional. Their mid laner, the one who escaped from Hogwarts daycare, had a high bounty on his head and I was going to be the one to send that jizz-sized wizard back to base. I timed my ults like Dr. Disrespect times his DMs to girls, aka way too early in their lives, but it didn't matter because the only thing illegal here was the amount of damage my bedazzled bullets were doing, as we all collectively agreed to give one person on each team that triple kill dopamine. I was getting so fed you'd think this video was on the Beard Meats Food channel as I asked Lux for the dessert menu and she offered me a stack of dead bitch pancakes as my own power was starting to scare me. A cinch tried to wingman his skinny creepy friend a bit too hard, so I flashed from that dude's bloody fart trail and then had the authorities remove both of those creeps from my sight. This also gave me a quadra, which apparently starts some long ass timer in which I can get a pentakill, but I guess you've had to experience that in the past to understand it. So when my support once again held my hand and prepped literally everything for me, I still managed to cuck it up and then not even understand what I did wrong, and that, my friends, is why they call me Joe Biden. And I can say that because I also think Trump is a sack of shit. So now that everyone is offended, let's continue to talk about how this game somehow turned into my last. Is right now a popular saying, he can dish it out but he can't take it, could definitely describe damage because I was somehow feeling beefy in this K-pop mafia outfit, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't think a single thing on the Rift could take me down. That said, for as fast as Hagrid's left nut can erase a squishy, I could erase him with 1/3 of the required brain power, but me holding 112% of the gold on my team was starting to take its toll on my coworkers, and even though I could remove this giant ballsack's power faster than a vasectomy, the warning signs were starting to show. I vowed after that last game that I would never throw again, especially against players acting like they've been breathing their own chemical brain cell killing gas a little too much. Some gossip girl told the bad guys about Baron, and now I had to be all XOXO try to not miss position like a dumbass in this fight, which led to me not participating as much as I would like. But then things started to look up until a Bard ult that makes all other Bard ults real quiet comes out, stunning half of us while clearly turning the other half's brains off as the startled deer somehow gets out. I didn't think much of it because I was now in 6-item territory, aka 3 auto attack kills anyone territory, while having the foresight to know that somewhere out there a fiddlesticks is rocking a full-blown boner, and sure enough he came in flailing it around like a registered sex offender, so we put a stop to that behavior until there were just 2 left. I took one look at Bard and said, fool me once with that tether bullshit, shame on me. Try to fool me twice, I'm gonna flash that shit and hit a more beautiful love tap than the sex scene from Titanic. That said, Tiny Dumbledore remained up, and for reasons that I can't state without losing my temper, we were unable to end the game. I was nearing 30 kills, but time after time, we just couldn't put the pieces to this puzzle entitled finish the fucking game together, as everyone else was now approaching full build. And after vowing to never throw another game again less than an hour ago, I looked at 3 enemies passionately defending their nexus with a purpose, while I continued to show that after 10 years of playing this game I quite literally still have no idea what I'm doing, as I chose to try and defend only to come up short. Leading me to the realization that if I can't close out a game like this, I have no choice than to make it my last and to move on. Rav out.